The Saudi market, we're dealing with some short-term small headwinds and then some long-term very exciting structural positives. So in the short term, I still think the market is a little bit concerned about valuation. Saudi market is still a little bit expensive when compared to other global markets, and the earnings backdrop has been a little bit weak over the last several months. Lastly, I guess the oil price has been a little bit softer, which of course has weighed to some degree. So these are short-term tactical issues, not really a problem, just a little bit of a pause for thought, I guess we can call it, before we can move to the more positive structural environment. So as you say, whether it's foreign ownership reform or the news we're getting in the last week or so from America about Saudi's growing importance as part of the AI build-out, I guess we can say, there's a lot to be very structurally positive about, and we would continue to expect the centrality of Saudi's capital markets, equity markets, is only going to become more and more significant for the country and for global investors like us. So if I can summarize, short term, still a little bit of headwind to get through, but on the more medium structural term, a lot of things to like, and at BlackRock, we're very excited about those.
What would you expect to be the impact of the opening of the Saudi stock market to foreign ownership with higher limits?
Yeah, so I think global investors are very thoughtful around where they can find investment opportunities all over the world. And when we look at an economy like Saudi, obviously with a tremendous kind of resource advantage, highly geared into some of the big themes of our time, artificial intelligence, a demographic tailwind, and so forth. So there's a lot to like in Saudi Arabia, that's for sure. And as that becomes easier for foreigners to access, I think there's potentially a significant pool of capital that can flow in. But in the shorter term, global investors continue to be watchful and thoughtful. They need to see the evidence come through. They don't want to be ahead of the transformation. They'll wait for the rules to be clarified and to become completely certain before that capital can flow through and try to take advantage of the opportunities within Saudi Arabia. Outside
of Saudi, looking into the wider GCC, where do you see the opportunities today, in which markets?
So we're quite constructive, I would say, across the GCC. So I'm thoughtful around Kuwait, who recently came back into the bond market and are tapping different sources of funding, which is quite encouraging, giving them a bit more liquidity. But I do think the United Arab Emirates is also very well geared into some of these structural tailwinds. Again, a deep and growing partnership with the US, a huge ambition in terms of the artificial intelligence super boom, which continues. And it does feel like the region, including Saudi, as I mentioned, but the UAE should be a significant part of that looking forward. So I would say in the UAE, the kind of blend of regulatory helpful context, the growing human talent, the energy architecture, and the kind of can-do attitude, I guess, all of that looks quite favorable. So there's different opportunities across the GCC, but I do think the UAE looks quite well positioned at the moment.
Sector-wise, are there any specific sectors that attract your attention, be it in Saudi or in the wider GCC?
Yeah, so I think, we're all very interested in the steady move away from energy. So I don't want to confuse matters. Energy is going to continue to be very important to this region for a long time to come, that's for sure. But I think if we think about the UAE as an example, the diversification of the economy away from energy to other sectors, obviously tourism, residential housing, and so forth is quite interesting. So I would be more focused on the kind of domestic consumption side, as we're seeing people do quite well, I suppose, and look to be able to get out and spend some money. So I think that domestic growth story has still got much more room to play out. So we'd be trying to pick some spots there.